Alright guys, I'm making a video here of my 68 Charger. So I got my GoPro hooked up on my head, so I'm gonna try not to move as much as I can, but as best as possible I'm gonna try to make this video as cool and as smooth as I can. So the first thing I do here is I'm gonna put on some gloves here. Just wanted to show here my working area. So in the rear here we got the trunk lid. What had happened, what I did is I had a hole right here, and you can see it, and a hole right here, and it was a bit too big. So what I did is I welded it and re-drilled the hole. And but what happened is that as the pressure with the cutoff wheel kind of like dug in just a little bit, so I filled it up with short strand fiberglass, and so I spread some here. This was all I hit it all with 80 grit, so I just smoothed the surface and all. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some House of Color, where is it? House of Color Final Wash, the KC20. Throw this on a rag and just wipe off if there was any contaminants. So I always wear gloves, but I ran my hand before, which I shouldn't have done, but anyways, I did it. So right now it's just basically spreading some of this KC20 Final Wash on the work area here, making sure that there's no contaminants and whatnot. And what I'll be doing is I'm going to be applying some filler from here to here, and then I'll do other areas. But for me today, the most important thing is to take care of this. I also got to take care of some other areas. I'll see if I can move the camera here. Some other areas where we took care of was over there, the sail panel. We got there was some holes that the previous owner, or I don't know who, had drilled some holes for the trim, the rear window trim, and those holes weren't supposed to be there. So filled it in with weld and repunched the holes exactly where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to be putting a nice skim of short strand fiberglass over there, and hopefully shaping it to back to its original feel, right, and curves. So this is pretty much today where I'm at in terms of work that needs to happen. I just hope the camera here is pointing directly at the work area and it's not showing the tip of my nose, but let's hope that you guys can see this. So next is what I'll be doing is so I masked the back end of this so to prevent any filler to go in there. So my trick was to use a drill bit of some sort while it was wet, manageable, and just make a little hole, and then as it dried I just made a little bit of a some more of the contour of the hole, right, match the size. And so what's going to happen is there is metal behind here, so it's all metal. It's not like this was rebuilt with short strand fiberglass. It was just to fill in some of the pitting that you see going on here. There's some pitting going on here that I'll be taking care of as well as here. So all this is all going to be taken care of, and I'm going to go from there. So what I'll be doing right now is just making sure that my area is like really clean, dust free. It's good to use a air gun, so I'll probably get my air gun going here and just dust it. I'm gonna get the vacuum as well going, so my shop vac that really needs. So I need to turn on the air. and wipe it again, make sure it's nice and clean. Once that's done, so now what we're going to be applying is some filler in this area. I've already sanded this. The intention right now is to re-epoxy most of the car and get it looking nice. So I just hope the video is recording properly here with my GoPro. This is pretty much where I'm at right now with the car. So if we can see here, I've worked this area here, worked the body line. So this still needs to be epoxied, and I'm gonna be working on that today. I'm gonna be working on this part over there, which is it's gonna be a long job, so I'm gonna have to take my time and do it right, and go from there. I've also got an area that needs a little bit of TLC, which was over there in the engine bay. There was a small little hole that went through due to the fender braces, and it burnt through with the weld. So so I welded that, and that little hole, that's all done. And so this is pretty much where I'm at today. So next I'm gonna go get my filler, and I always keep my stuff in a warm area. I mean, I do try to keep my garage at about 66 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's do this here. So I'm gonna mix my paint, my filler here, and go and apply it. I hope you guys can see this. So this is my workbench here. So I used the Rage Ultra, and I was told it was really good, less pinholes and whatnot. So there you have it. So I'm gonna need my hardener first. So it was important to knead it. Make sure that even after use, like if you leave it longer than an hour or whatnot, you need to knead it again. So there we go. I think this is enough. And we're gonna take some here with this. I'm gonna mix it up a bit. And I think this is a little too much for that little area. I don't think I need more than just a little bit. Don't wanna go too hard on this stuff, so here we go. And this should be enough. So I'm gonna spread it right here. Just make sure this area is clean. And obviously it's not recommended to put it back in, but I mean it should be okay for now. So next is mixing in my hardener. So I'm gonna wipe this off. Well, actually, you know what I'll do here? Let me do this, guys. I'm gonna just clean this here with some wax and grease remover, my stir stick. Make sure there's no grease or contaminant or whatever. Use a clean towel, shop towel, and just wipe it off. Make sure it's clean. And then I'll just scrape this guy here. Just wanna, no point in wasting good filler, right? And then just dump it back in. Right, and voila. Just take this here. And here we go. So Let's wipe this guy back out. It's always important to keep your tools that you use always ready. Always, I use wax and grease remover to wipe everything down. And it's pretty much straightforward from here. Just clean it and make sure this stuff doesn't dry up on your tools, right? And put this away. And next I'm going to take my spreader here, just make sure. So I can use either this one or the metallic one. I like to use a metallic one sometimes, but for this right now I'll be using this one. So what I'm going to be doing here is making a little ball here. You know, let's bring everything together, right? And put my hardener. Usually you put a line halfway through, so I'll put a small, not too much, because I don't want this baby to dry and flash on me real fast. So I think this is more than enough, maybe a little too much. What I'll do is just remove this part and just put it here on the side and mix it. So the trick, I've been told, is to go hard, medium, light to prevent bubbles. Hard, medium, light. Hard, medium, light. Hard, medium, light, until you reach the same consistency, the same color. Make sure that the filler, the hardener is all spread out and it's got a good consistent color. Hard, medium, light, and pretty much we got it where we want it. So hard, medium, light. And what we'll do now is we'll head over to the car and we'll spread this filler everywhere needed. So yeah, put a little too much, right? So next time I'll just be a little more mindful of the quantity that I choose to put on. So pretty much I want to shape this the best as I can. And spread it, you know, as thin as possible. There we go. Looks pretty good. Just needs to be thick enough. And of course this is going to be all I'm going to throw some high build on here, right, later on. And I think this should do it. I'll spread it evenly everywhere, and that should be good enough for me. So I'll just set this aside for now. And now for the really important part is the hole. So because I said that I had masking tape behind here, what's going to happen now is the moment I remove the masking tape, it will drop. It should drop, right? So you see it right there, the little bubble there. This is where I need to there we go. Made my little hole, and now I'm gonna allow it time to dry. I'm just gonna wipe off my my drill bit here. Gonna close my filler. Always make sure you close it. and let this dry. So there's a trick to this this whole spreader. When you let it dry, you'll be able to snap it off, and it'll come off way easier than if you're gonna try to wipe it off. I know that some guys, they like to remove it right away with wax and grease remover. I mean, look, it's starting to dry already. So now's a good time to use your wax and grease remover and clean your tools, and so that they're ready for your next job. I'm using the cut-off onion board here. I have the plastic onion board from Evercoat. Haven't used it yet. I'm gonna wait till I finish these guys. The advantage of these is that you don't need to clean. You just rip off the paper and just cut off. And the disadvantage is that sometimes you might get some foreign objects, dust, little bits of filler that dried and might go into your filler and affect the consistency of your material that you're working with, right? So now I'm pretty much going to rip this sheet off, and now I'm pretty much ready for the next time I use it. And let's go back and see what's going on here. I'm going to wait till this baby dries. I'm going to sand it, block sand it. So I'm going to be using some 80 grit and sand this whole thing down, make it nice and straight. Then I'm going to be doing over there, taking care of that. And later on, if I got some time, I'll be doing this here. So this whole area, make it look as nice, but you also want to keep it as natural as possible, right? I don't want to take away from the originality of the car. I don't want it to look too perfect because it's going to look fake. I want to keep it as original as possible, right? It's got to keep its age, and you know, this car didn't take a beating, but she needs to kind of pretty much be at the state that it's in terms of age. These cars, this is a 1968 Dodge Charger, so for me it's pretty much removing the pitting. All this has been sandblasted, so there is no rust. This car has absolutely no rust on it, and reason why I want to re-epoxy, and mainly the engine bay, and I'll show you guys this in a sec, is because when a buddy of mine came over here to help me out to spread the epoxy, he didn't spray in all the areas. There were some areas that didn't get coverage, and unfortunately it let it exposed for about a year, left it exposed to the ambient air. I live in a dry area in Western Canada, and what happened is that there was some surface rust that was that came and it was pretty much apparent in some areas, like here for instance. Some other places like here, in that corner up there. Here I got some pitting, which I took care of. There was some other areas like right over here, right? Some areas around underneath the cowl, few places on the engine bay, but nothing significant. I took care of it, and now I'm gonna give it another thorough 2 coats of epoxy primer and go from there. I'm pretty much gonna re-epoxy all these areas, all the quarter panels, and go from there. So right now I'm gonna let this thing dry. My glove just ripped, so I'm gonna change my glove. I was told to always use gloves when you're touching the car. You don't want contaminants or anything to affect the surface. I've seen bodymen. I've actually had some bodymen come here because I need a little bit of help on a few things. I'm not an experienced bodyman, but I've been doing a lot of studying and a lot of researching and a lot of knowledge acquisition, acquiring a lot of knowledge over the past year on a whole bunch of things on bodywork. YouTube has been very helpful, but one thing is that I look for perfection and I look for the best in myself. The plan is to try to bring this car to a high build, sand it down. I do get a friend of mine, actually might be the guy who's going to paint the car, who's going to come and look at the state and that it's in, and make sure that everything lines up, everything is straight, and I'm pretty confident that I can make this happen. So where are we at here with this guy? Let's see if she's dry. Sorry, I'm moving my camera up and down all the time, guys. Yeah, she's dry. So I think now I can start hitting it with the 80 grit. So this is 80 grit paper. And so I don't apply any pressure. Oh, forgot one important thing. Let me just put that tape back here. I don't want any dust, and more dust than it should be. So the thing is to let the sandpaper do the work and not put any pressure, right? And just go with the flow of the body of the car, the shape of the car. So I'm not wearing a mask. I should be wearing a breather, but because I'm making this video, pretty much have no choice. So gently block sanding this, respecting the shape of the car. And so you'll see here that there's an edge on this side. I'll take care of that after, and I'll show you how I do it. But right now you want to bring it as flat as possible. So I use some X patterns, cross hatching, which is what we call. So sometimes what I do here is I have a tool. I got these soft sanders I bought, and some of them have different shapes. So this one I think has the best shape. I don't know if you can see this, but this one has the best shape, whereby I put my sandpaper in here and I fold it in, and so I use this to tackle these corners and just gently, you know, follow the shape of the car. All right, if you can see, look, you see that? Took care of that. And you see my hole, so I'm not too afraid anymore. I see my hole. I can use the drill bit later on to make it better. So I'll take care at the end, just to kind of get a little finish. So I'm just hitting it with some 80 grit for now, and later, right after, I'm going to be hitting it with 120. Doesn't need to be knocked down as much. So 80 grit I use to knock down as much as I can, so it goes quicker. And then I'll use 120 to fine tune it, make it look pretty nice. And then what I do usually is I look for pinholes, because pinholes aren't your best friend, right? You gotta be careful pinholes. This is why the mixing is very important when you're mixing with the hardener, your filler. So I'm feeling it all, feeling with my hand. It feels really good. I'm not applying too much pressure. Another trick that you can do when you're around the edges, I'm gonna try not to touch my camera because I don't want to get dust all over it. Obviously it's my GoPro, so is just following the motion, following the curve with your block. Now this is clogged. There's two ways of doing it. Well, actually 4 ways of doing it. You can either use a vacuum, you can use a Scotch-Brite pad, you can use air, or you can use these wire brushes. So for now I'll just go ahead and use The Scotch-Brite pad just kind of pretty much removes everything. Maybe give a little shot of air. And that pretty much does it. So just wipe my area. Still feel some highs in this area, so I'll just keep blocking until I get a nice feel for it. Again, not applying too much pressure, and go straight and do some cross hatching. So what's happening here is I started seeing the milkiness, right? When you start seeing the metal and you start seeing milkiness, that means you pretty much hit bottom and you can't go anymore. So try to stay away from that, and you do other areas where it won't be affected, right? Because I don't want to fill this whole thing with Bondo, right? This is not the intention. The intention is just to fill the pitting and level this baby. All right. So over here, just a little bit. You see, it's starting to get milky here. This kind of tells you you'll have to stop, right? So pretty much, I feel good about this. Maybe here a little bit more. Let's try to feel it with my hand. All right, I could use guide coat, but right now I don't think I need guide coat at this stage. There we go. Feels nice. Maybe this area up in here. So I still see my hole here for my screw. This is for the trim. All right, I think I'm pretty much done here with the 80 grit. Again, gently giving it some back and forth, following the line, following the natural curve of the car, right? Making sure that I'm not applying any pressure. And I can use this. This is a 120 grit, so just gently going over it, making sure that I'm covering the edges here. You see, I picked it up right there, so feel it with my finger. Feels good. Maybe here just a little bit more. So you can see here it filled up most of the pitting. A lot of it over here is taken care of. This took the shape of the car as straight as possible, and I can still see my hole here. So that's pretty, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I still feel a little bit of high here. I'm gonna hit it with 120 grit, take another block. I still hope you guys can see pretty much what I'm doing. If not, I would hate to have to redo this video. So I'll use I believe this one is what? This is a, what is this? I think this is a 120. So what all you do is making sure, because this thing is flat, just making sure, you see it's picking up some filler, and gently, you know, there's no point in rushing a job, there's no point in applying more pressure than you need, right? Just follow the curves. No, see here, I feel it here. I don't see the milkiness. I see the milkiness here, which is good, right? We got to start seeing a little bit of milkiness here. So I can tell that she still needs a bit more. Right? So that little dip that I had here is pretty much gone. All the pitting is pretty much taken care of in this pass, and it really leveled it, made it made it fairly straight. Here again, you gotta remember this car is 51 years old. Actually 52, 2021. This is 1968 Dodge Charger. So yeah. So again, try to follow as much as possible the natural curve of the car. See, again, we're getting some buildup here. Use my Scotch-Brite. And what I'll do later is give a quick pass of the vacuum. So again, feeling it with my hand. Very important. Wear gloves or use a towel, so they say. So she looks pretty good. I like what I see here. And giving it a little extra here. Yeah, I want this to come milky. And see if I can do a close-up here, if you guys can see anything. There you go. So this area is pretty much done. No more filler required. We hit metal. I don't think I want to go any lower than this. And obviously the rest is going to be, this is all going to be high built, right? So there's going to be some high build that's going to be thrown all over here, all over the car, pretty much everywhere. And it's going to take some more sanding again. But I'm feeling it with my hand. Probably over here needs a little bit of this corner. Make sure that it's nice and even. And then I can, obviously, if I wanted to, I can put some putty and refine it a bit more. But it won't matter to me as much because this whole area here, about this much here, gets, there's a stainless steel trim that goes around the back end here. And I'm not too worried about that. This area all looks good. And it's mainly feeling it, like maybe closing your eyes or looking away and really developing the touch with the hand, right? You know, you gotta go fast and slow at the same time, feeling with your fingertips, feeling with your entire hand. For me, this thing is dead straight. So just to recap here what I did today, took care of the little dip in this area. I had to refill this hole with metal, welded it, and while grinding it, it kind of like took a little bit of a shape where it was dipping. I filled it with short strand fiberglass and then applied some filler on it, hit it with 80 grit, then 120 grit, and we're pretty much done right here. So I'm gonna hit the stop video, and I'm gonna be doing probably some other videos on some of the work that I've been doing now that I got my GoPro. I was hesitant to use the GoPro. Most of my videos are shot with my phone. I want to keep my GoPro as clean as possible. I don't want dust on it, but I find that it's the best alternative for me because I can wear it on my head, I can talk at the same time, and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video here, and just keep watching and see how my charger progresses. Took off my gloves. All right, thank you very much, guys. All right, have a good day. Bye bye.